Money Monday is sponsored by Huskey Financial.
You work hard, save money, spend money. You've got liabilities and assets, but how do you make the most of that hard-earned cash and still plan for a rainy day? We'd like to welcome back Money Monday sponsor Stephen Huskey, President and Financial Advisor at Huskey Financial Group. Great to have you back.
Pleasure to be here, Layla. Thank you so much.
So money goes in, money goes out. What is the best way to kind of focus on what you've got, what's coming in, what's going out, and then to make the most of it?
Really, it's about getting organization around your financial balance sheet. Most people think a balance sheet really just applies to assets, which is what you own, and liabilities, which is what you owe to others. But if you consider the cash flow it takes to increase and decrease either one of those, what we're trying to do is help create the net worth that you can use in retirement to build that cash flow for yourself and income level. So also protecting that is of utmost importance. Risk mitigation is just as important as the income. So we want to make sure that the investments we have and how we protect that are always considered.
What should go on that balance sheet?
Well, first thing we want to look at is always through the lens of cash flow. What income do we have going in? How are we protecting it? How are we best saving that money? Are we world-class savers by saving 15 to 20% of our income every year? Are we spending too much money on debt and taxes? Have we looked at all of our other professionals and said, how are we going to reduce liabilities, and ask them those questions? And as well as, are we spending maybe too much money on lifestyle? Typically, a lot of the clients that I work with, as their income continues to grow, as does their lifestyle cost. What we really should be focusing on is prioritizing the growth in our savings before anything else.
Right. We did learn that lesson during the Great Recession when everything just imploded and people were using their credit cards to pay for all kinds of extravagant things, and we know what happened with that. But when you say people should really look at their lifestyle, what are some of the first things that you think people should cut back on?
I think the first things that we should address would be taxes and debt, because we want to make a minimal impact on our lifestyle if it's available. But what we really should be considering is the amount of liquidity that's on our balance sheet. Too often we hear the advice of defer, 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 because we want to lower our taxable income, reduce our taxes today. But how much of an impact does that make for us in the future? Because if a lot of our money is tied up in retirement accounts, we don't have enough for those emergencies that pop up, those vacations that we like to take, or those big, large, unexpected expenses. We're borrowing from places that we shouldn't, and that's not always a great thing.
But you say using a macroeconomic advisor experience. What does that mean?
A lot of us are dealing with micro experiences with our professionals on our team, such as our mortgage bankers, our accountants, any investment or insurance advisors that we've got. And while we trust these professionals to help us along the way, we're usually in a reactionary relationship with these people. We're calling them to get our taxes done or get our mortgage refinanced, but how often are they proactively calling you to discuss new things that they've found out that will help you? And what type of advice are they giving you? Typically, it's coming from a good place, but it may be conflicting with what another professional on your team is telling. A macro experience is all about understanding the goal at hand. And what my team and I do is create a macro experience by spreading that goal to the other professionals on your team, and literally and figuratively sitting in the same room with these professionals so you can go out and be great at what you do and not spend time on that stuff because we got it handled.
Okay. And how do you set money goals? You know, I think it's easy to say, it's like I'm going to sit down and eat my vegetables, but how do you really kind of nail down money goals and stick to them?
It's all about conversation. You've got to communicate. You've got to be able to talk, and especially in a business with partnership or in a marriage, you've got to talk about the goals that you have. A lot of it's kind of compromise, but also coming to the realization that we have some strengths, we have some weaknesses. Bringing a professional onto the team to act as a financial therapist or someone who can get you both on the same page can really open up the lines of communication, and just make sure that you're on the same page.
Yeah. And finally, are there any calculations that we can do at home before we pick up the phone and call you to know that it's going to be a feasible opportunity for both parties to then hire a financial planner?
That's a great question. You know, it's to our own chagrin in this industry that it's confusing as to what financial advisors do because there's so many different things we're capable of. So there's an investment advisor, there's strictly an insurance advisor, and then there's a mix of the two. So choosing the one that really works best for you is going to be to your best potential. So if you're willing to pay the fee for a financial planner, which on average in this industry, it's 1% of your gross annual household income, then you can take that plan and do with it as you wish. You can implement it with that advisor, or you can take it to the other advisors on your team and implement it as well.
Perfect. Stephen, thank you so much.
Happy to help. Thank you.
We're back after this.
Money Monday is sponsored by Huskey Financial.